What is up, everybody? It is Thursday, November 10th, and this is Casual Wrestling Daily, the daily pro wrestling news live show on YouTube where we discuss everything that is going on in the world of WWE and AEW. If you enjoy the content and you are feeling a little bit oozy, you are welcome to go ahead and click on the link in the description of this video to donate a couple of dollars. If not, that's okay. Sit back and enjoy the next 15 to 20 minutes of pro wrestling talk. As always, if you don't know, now you know. I am the Notorious Nerdy D, aka the voice of the casual wrestling cult and the host of the Casual Wrestling Community channel. Still feeling sick, so I'm going to hack my way through this episode here as I cough and sniffle and sneeze and do a little bit of everything, but we'll get through it here. Housekeeping for the day. So I went to post yesterday's episode of WWE in Review, and it appears that I accidentally deleted the file. So there will be no WWE in Review this week. I will re-record it this weekend and post it next Wednesday. We'll pick up right where we left off. The Friday podcast for this week will be taking place of the Casual Wrestling Daily Show on Fridays. So instead of getting the 15 to 20 minute episode of the Casual Wrestling Daily Show on Friday, we're going to go ahead, me and Lauren are just going to record the hour-long podcast in this time slot, and we'll try doing it live this week, but we'll still go over the news for the day, but then we'll roll in the other things that we do on the podcast. It feels a little redundant doing two shows in one day. So this show will actually, the Casual Wrestling Daily will be Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m., and then the actual Casual Wrestling podcast will be on Fridays at 1 p.m. live on YouTube. So everything will be live from here on out. Remember, we are on patreon.com/the Casual Wrestling Show. It is 100% free to follow. That is where we post all the channel updates, all the community updates. So make sure to join. All you have to do is join Patreon. It's free. Hit follow. Lots of other cool stuff you can find on Patreon, so it's not a bad place to kind of hang out and see what's going on. If you do decide to become a Patreon, you can get a shout out on this show and become a Patreon producer like our boys, it's Zenny and LGRSM. They both chose to support the show. New look. If we're gonna be a news show, looks like we gotta look like a news show. I feel like this look is a little better. So let's jump right into the news. Story number one today is SARAYA/PAIGE had a face-to-face with Britt Baker last night on Dynamite where she revealed in an emotional fashion that she is 100% cleared to wrestle with no restrictions. My question for everybody is, did WWE drop the ball by letting Paige go to AEW now that it is proven she is cleared to wrestle? As a WWE guy, I wear the WWE jersey. I raise the WWE flag. I'm a WWE guy. Have no problem with AEW, but I definitely am team WWE at this point. This one stings a little bit. This one hurts just a little bit, and this is a big acquisition, and it's okay. Balance on the rosters is good. AEW needs to strengthen their women's roster, so I have no problem, but it does sting a little bit to see kind of a staple of the 2000s, Paige go over and do her thing on AEW. We are going to have to play a little bit of wait and see with Paige, SARAYA, whatever you want to call it, right? There's a little bit of wait and see because we have to see, does she still have the get up and go? You know, it's been a couple years now, but since she's been in a ring and just got up and let loose. And so we'll have to see. The AEW is really kind of banking here on putting this division on her shoulders as she continues to come out and say, this is my house, this is my division. So they're, you know, without really getting to see her on TV in a match, they're throwing her straight into a pay-per-view event against Britt Baker, who is a fan favorite, and they're going, here, put this division on your shoulders and see what you can do. And this feels eerily similar to me than when CM Punk returned. Maybe not with as much fanfare, maybe not with as much backing of the crowd, but where the expectations could possibly exceed the ring ability. If you remember, CM Punk came back and kind of gave us the, let me get back in my groove before you guys overreact. This was quite a break. With Saraya, it kind of feels like we're getting the same thing, right? It's just, I'm back, I'm clear, I'm going to be in a pay-per-view against arguably the most commercially viable wrestler on the AEW women's roster. And it feels like, once again, in AEW promo fashion, that when Britt Baker and Saraya got into that ring, they were at each other's throats. They were both trying to cut the other one down. They were both trying to, quote unquote, win the promo, which I never think is good for business. You have to have a clear-cut winner and a clear-cut loser, and you can't just have rap battles every time you get into that ring. Now, having said that, Britt had some real shots that I thought she took when she told Paige, this isn't your house. You didn't build this house. I didn't see you lay one brick down here. You left your home. I wish she would have gone a step farther and even said, they didn't want you in your home. They didn't re-sign you. They weren't willing to take a risk with you. I think she really could have laid some foundation there if she played that card. All I really heard in rebuttal, now the IWC's losing their shit. They think that Paige has come back, Saraya's come back, and she's going to prove Britt Baker to be what they want her to be, which is, unqualified. I completely disagree. I think Britt Baker is fucking amazing. But all I saw that Paige did in that promo was come back and admit and confess to a bunch of bad life choices and try to spin those into a wrestling journey, right? I've been humiliated in front of millions of people. Bad choices. You made bad choices. It's okay. Like, I have no problem with them, but you made bad choices. Like drugs, recording sex tapes. Wrestling didn't do that to you. You made bad choices. You chose to be around bad people. And typically when you hang out with bad people, bad things happen. So I don't feel as strong on the side of Saraya's comeback, trying to make it as if like you have to go through some real dark shit to know what it is to wrestle. Okay. I mean, shoot back to, you talk about being given opportunity after opportunity. Let's go back. Like day one, Paige was handed the Divas Championship. So we can't talk about being handed opportunities. Like, it happened. That's what wrestling is. You're either handed opportunities or you're not, and it's what you make of them. And I've once again seen the IWC and the AEW audience complaining about Britt Baker, saying that, all these opportunities are handed to her. I tend to disagree. From a commercial viability, Jade Cargill and Britt Baker, that is all there is on the AEW roster. Now Saraya will add a little bit to that, but like there is no other option. You can see Thunder Rosa is not that person, right? Toni Storm is not that person. Serena Deeb is not. Those are not the people. They cannot carry a division and get eyes on other people. So that Britt Baker is the only commercially viable person up until Jade Cargill has come into her own. Still not sold on Jade Cargill, by the way. I still think that she has more ways to becoming, she has a longer path to becoming a viable commercial product than the path that she's already taken. But like, if the IWC and AEW, if they want to shit all over Britt Baker and they want to jump on Saraya's side here, I want to make this clear. If you guys want to let Britt Baker go and let her come to WWE, I will accept her with open arms. I have zero reserve about bringing Britt Baker over to WWE. I have zero reserve that Britt Baker would be a huge star in WWE. Huge star. She has character, she can talk, and she can wrestle enough. I don't understand the X's and O's enough. When I watch Britt Baker, I don't see anything missing. The IWC jumps over and says she can't wrestle. I've never seen a good Britt Baker match. Everyone I see, I'm fucking entertained. So I don't know what they're watching. But I am excited for this match at Full Gear. I'm excited for Full Gear. The card's starting to come together. A few matches I can get behind. I'm excited to see MJF Moxley, that should be pretty good. Excited to see Jericho, Bryan Danielson, and that Fatal 4-Way. Excited to see this one. So I think there's enough there that Tony might get my $50 this month. He might actually get it. And I may pay attention to Full Gear. Story number 2 here is on this week's episode of Dynamite, Jeff Jarrett appeared following Jay Lethal's win over Trent. He hyped up Jay as a wrestler that wins over Sting and Ric Flair. Double J added that Sanjay Dutt has an IQ of 180 and that they've taken over promotions all across the world. A lot of those are out of business, I'm sure. Jarrett then brought up Satnam Singh and said he's a real giant. He added that he's not a make-believe monster in red skinny jeans produced by the Banana Nose Factory. Question. Is this whole go-to, AEW shtick where they take shots at WWE, is that gimmick played out with the AEW audience? Because to be honest, it really didn't get the reaction I think he thought he was going to get when he pulled that shit again. Like, Saraya's tried it. Jeff Jarrett's tried it. The last couple times that people have taken shots at WWE, I think it's fallen flat. I think the IWC's tired of it. I think AEW fans are tired of it. I don't think, that worked for a little bit, but now it's kind of put up or shut up, and a lot of these people aren't putting up. And I think that the AEW audience is tired of it. They're just trying to enjoy their own product. I think in the great words of the Wheeler Yuta, he said it way too well. I'm obsessed with this quote that Wheeler Yuta said of 2 different products for 2 different people. I can't say that any better. That's why the IWC and WWE fans don't get along. 2 different products for 2 different people. Very similar. They're both wrestling, but 2 different products for 2 different people. And clearly, Jeff Jarrett doesn't understand that, right? He's already tone deaf. Jeff Jarrett comes into a new company, tone deaf, and he's already off to a glowing start here, to speak sarcastically. Where was that necessary, taking shots at WWE? I don't know. Did he think the crowd was going to pop? Why go poke the big bear? Why go poke the big machine? How many times do you think you're going to poke the big machine before the big machine gets tired of it and fucking pokes back, right? And if I'm Braun Strowman in this situation, I just leave this alone. That was a stupid promo. It didn't go over. It didn't hit. It's not going to further any story in AEW, which once again is what I talk about when I talk about AEW promos. They don't do a good job of pushing the brand. They don't do a good job of pushing the story. They don't do a good job of building the logo. They're literally just there to take shots at people, whether it's taking shots within your own company or taking shots at people in other companies. It's fucking pointless. And I went back and did a little research and watched some of the Satnam Singh and some of the matches he's had. Maybe it was one match, but I watched it. He's another one of these giants that's plucked out of the NBA that has a long way to go, that gets rushed to the main card because they're impressive looking, but there's nothing there. Braun is talented. Like, let's not talk. Braun may be a little bit of an asshole. He may have a little bit of an ego. He may share some crazy views that I actually share about size in wrestling, but we got to be realistic. Braun is extremely athletic and extremely talented in the ring for a guy his size. I don't want to take that away from him. No matter what you think about Braun Strowman, as far as these oversized gladiator men, he moves well and he does have in-ring ability. And I think, to be honest, I really think that AEW in the long run is going to regret this Jeff Jarrett hire. It feels to me like just another, here goes Jeff Jarrett. It's another out of touch, old school holdover of wrestling, who just has that old school train of thought, who doesn't understand what the new school audience wants. And so, I think AEW ends up regretting that hire eventually. Topic 3 here. During last night's edition of Dynamite, AEW aired another video package featuring the Elite. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks can be seen with Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and other wrestlers in the video package. The video features graphics from Full Gear, and it appears to be the date Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks will return. Question: does the return of the Elite completely ruin the momentum and send negative sent a negative message to the wrestlers who have carried the company after the all-out media catastrophe. We knew it was going to happen eventually. We knew they were coming back eventually. I mean, you can't keep these guys out forever, but to be hyped up with a big video package and to make your big return on a pay-per-view feels a little bit of like a steamy shit on the rest of the roster who continued to work after this big catastrophe at All Out, right? MJF said it best. Can he just get a moment? Can he just have the spotlight for one night? Is it okay if MJF just comes out, has a spotlight, wins the championship, and the night is all about him? But instead, here we go again. The Elite are returning. He said, I mean, MJF said it in his promo. Everything he's done has been overshadowed by some JV League antics pulled by these EVPs, right? And I understand that they're a draw for the company. I get that the Elite, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they're a draw for the company. They got to come back at some point. But there was a better way to reintroduce them that didn't just make it seem like this was all for nothing, right? Because the Elite tend to feel like, to me, they feel like the school bullies who click up, they take the ball from people, they don't want anybody else to play with the ball. They get punished for a couple of weeks, they come back, and I don't think they've learned any lessons. They'll just pick back up right where they left off, right? And weird flex. It was a weird flex for AEW and Tony Khan to use a promo package, even if it was quickly being flashed by in old pictures, but to use a bunch of photos of WWE guys just felt like, it feels like that whole thing could have been presented better and more clear in a way that was, I guess you have to celebrate them coming back, but I feel like them coming back on like a Dynamite or a Rampage is a more appropriate way than just going, we'll throw them into a pay-per-view, we'll put them into a bit, they'll have a big moment, everybody will be excited, and this whole suspension was more like a vacation for these guys, and it sends a bad message through the locker room. The Elite at this point should just change their name to Elite EVPs and just be authority figures. It would be better for the story. I think it would blur the lines a little bit if they just came back and kind of admittedly had this power and this ability to insert themselves into matches and put themselves into title opportunities. I think fans and even IWC would get a little bit of a kick out of that. But it'll be interesting to see how much TV time these guys take up when they return, right? How much time do they get at Full Gear? How much time do they get on the following Dynamite? How quickly do they insert themselves back into title opportunities? How humbly do they come back? How gracefully do they insert themselves back into a product that has continued to move while they were basically being punished or as it looks now, basically on vacation? It seems like the person who was worse for wear in this situation is CM Punk. CM Punk is the one that ultimately is going to be punished for this. And I mean, who knows? Maybe that's the right thing to do, but it feels like this sends a bad message through your locker room. All right. Story number 4. For those who are wondering, the 24/7 championship is no longer a part of the titles that currently listed on active WWE official website. The official stats for the title show that it lasted from 2019 to 2022. WWE teased that they were done with the title during this past Monday's episode of Raw. The title changed hands during the show after Nikki Cross defeated Dana Brooke. Question: how long can WWE operate a 3-hour Monday Night Raw with only 2 singles titles on the show? This is rough for me to see another title be retired, another decision be made, more cleaning up of the Vince McMahon era. I think it's rough for me because a lot of these decisions that Triple H are making at this point, I hope he has a plan in place to replace even bad ideas have a place as long as they're serving a purpose. And I feel like he's removing a lot of things that I don't know what is the plan moving forward. There's a lot of wrestlers on Monday Night Raw, a lot of male wrestlers. And to not have 2 legitimate titles on that show feels like 3 hours is a long time to fill when you can only feature a women's title, a men's title, and a women's tag team title. It does Triple H's WWE is starting to feel a little more messy. He came out of the gate swinging. He hit a couple home runs, but it is starting to feel like when you look at the logistics of it, did he fire off all the big shots at the beginning and now he's having to clean up his mess of just coming out of the gates hot? Time will tell, right? We will see. Does he have a plan? Will he they need to add another mid-card men's belt. You have to. And even if it's equivalent to the United States Championship, like I think the European Championship is a fine option. But I think that they're going to have to add something. That 3-hour show cannot function. I think at this point I would add a men's and a women's mid-card title to give that 3 hours more meaning. I mean, the women's tag team titles are technically on Raw, but they kind of travel back and forth. And I don't know that they garner the attention until they do a good job of building it back up. Right now, with just Damage Control kind of controlling that title, I think it's going to take Sasha and Naomi and a couple people coming back to make that title feel credible and relevant. I'm okay with the U.S. title being the main title on Monday Night Raw. I did see some people who kind of push back against that, but I have no problem with that. I think that you can quickly change people's mind by elevating that title and leaving it on Seth Rollins. I think I said this like 3 months ago that they needed to make the United States title feel like a world title, put it around the waist of high level superstars like Bobby Lashley, like Seth Rollins. Everything I kind of said did come to be. Not claiming that was genius. I think that it was obvious that's where they were going. But so I have no problem there. What I do have a problem is there is no title right now for younger talent. There is no up and coming Raw title that people can kind of get strapped on them to get some eyeballs on them and to elevate them to another level. Last thing on the 24/7 title here is that R-Truth should have been the last one to have this title. Like, it really wouldn't have hurt to wait until he came back, especially if it looks like coming out of this injury, he may never be who he actually was again. R-Truth should have been the last 24/7 champion. They could have worked an angle that did that. I did pull this off of a wiki, and I thought this was interesting. I wanted to read this. It's a little wordy, but we'll get through it. I thought all this information was interesting, just kind of running down the lifetime of the 24/7 championship. And it says, over the championship's 3-year history, there were officially 195 recognized reigns between 57 different people. There were 9 reigns that were not recognized on the official title history on WWE.com. R-Truth had the most reigns at 54, and the longest combined total of days as champion at 425. He had a 53-day reign and a 415-day reign. Reggie had one of the longest singular reigns at 112 days for his first reign. Only 14 other people had a reign that lasted longer than a day. Angel Garza, Akira Tozawa, Bad Bunny, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Drake Maverick, Drew Gulak, Elias, Maria Kanellis, Moho Rawley, Riddick Moss, Rob Gronkowski, Shelton Benjamin, and both of the Singh brothers, Samir and Sunil. Tucker's first reign was the shortest reign, which lasted approximately 4 seconds. WWE Hall of Famer Pat Patterson was the oldest champion, winning the title at 78 years old, which makes him the oldest title holder in WWE history. Bad Bunny was the youngest, winning the title at 26 years old. Former WWE wrestler Kelly Kelly was the first of 11 women to have won the title. Hall of Famer, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and R-Truth were the only title holders to win the championship without a pinfall or submission. If you remember, DiBiase purchased it from fellow Hall of Famer Alundra Blaze, who was about to drop the belt in a trash can. And R-Truth's 50th reign began after he convinced Bad Bunny to trade for the title for some Stone Cold Steve Austin memorabilia. The Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, were the only tag team to ever hold the belt and be recognized as co-champions. And our final champion was Nikki Cross. Also, non-wrestlers have held the belt, including Fox sportscaster Rob Stone, NBA player Enes Kanter, music producer Marshmello, WWE senior account manager Michael Glacio, NASCAR Cup Series driver Kyle Busch, Raw announcer Mike Rome, Rob Gronkowski, radio personality and WWE pay-per-view pre-show panelist Peter Rosenberg, former NFL player Doug Flutie, Puerto Rican reggaeton rapper and trap singer Bad Bunny, The gobbledygooker, WWE commentator Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, and referees Daphne LaShawn, Sean Bennett, and Eddie Oringo. RIP to the oddest title that I have ever seen in WWE history. Last story of the day here, ladies and gentlemen, is WrestleVotes recently reported that John Cena should be making an appearance at WrestleMania 39 and will wrestle at the event. Since then, rumors have started circulating as to who will face the former WWE champion. Logan Paul added fuel to this fire by reacting to the report with a shifty eyes emoji. This has fans buzzing that Logan Paul might actually challenge John Cena to a match at WrestleMania. Logan recently injured himself during his match against Roman Reigns and is expected to be out until about April. This puts his return somewhere near WrestleMania. Question: would you rather see John Cena face off against Logan Paul or Austin Theory at WrestleMania 39? You guys, excuse me. You guys, we have to admit, for everything about Logan Paul, he knows how to stay relevant. He knows how to keep, he has dominated this week's news cycle. Almost every day there has been something to talk about with Logan Paul. And after working this injury to make us think that he might be out 6 to 8 months, now he's back to teasing WrestleMania matches. So, he just knows what he's doing. He knows how to play this game. He is the perfect celebrity to turn pro wrestler. And he's trolling the crowd. He's trolling us with injuries. He's trolling us with just inserting his name into these matches. But this is dicey for me, right? This is dicey because every time Logan gets into the ring, it's spectacular. It's been fun. But how many times as a WWE universe are we going to allow him to just show back up for the big ones? How long does he get to do that? It's made sense through the first 3, but are we going to continue to just give Logan a pass and go, oh, WrestleMania, you can show up. SummerSlam, you can show up. Crown Jewel, you can show up. You don't have to put the work in the other 365 days a year. The problem is for me, the Logan marketing works. When you go into WrestleMania and you market Logan Paul versus John Cena, it works. You can't tell me that doesn't sell tickets. The problem is that Theory has been teasing this Cena showdown for the past year, and even today tweeted a picture of him and John Cena. So I think Theory is now in the process of lobbying himself back into that position, because Logan throwing his name into that gauntlet has to have people thinking this is a real possibility. There's a real possibility that Logan Paul could be John Cena's opponent at WrestleMania 39. And I think that this will kind of be the telling factor. This will tell us where Triple H really values Theory, or if he doesn't value Theory, right? Because if Theory comes out of this Money in the Bank cash in and is just buried, doesn't get a match with John Cena at WrestleMania, then I think we can assume that Theory is just another guy on the roster. They don't see him as the future like Vince McMahon did. The question for me becomes, guys like The Rock and Cena, is WrestleMania, is it lucrative enough to get them to leave all of these other movie contracts and to assume the punishment and the risk that comes with training and being in a high-level match? It seems like every time these guys come back for a one-off, they do leave with some kind of injury. I think when The Rock came back last time, he left with some sort of injury. So I know Cena has promised us he wasn't done, but there's a lot going on for Cena right now that to take off, you got to assume it's going to be at least 3 months. To take that time off and come back to wrestle someone like Logan Paul, who... Logan's a wild card. You don't know what you're getting in there. And if you haven't trained in a while, it could be dangerous to wrestle with Logan Paul. I think that Theory is the safer matchup for someone like John Cena. But, time will tell and see where this is going. Fun fact, John Cena has never been the Intercontinental Champion. So fucking throw Gunther's name into this list of possible matches for John Cena, right? And if I'm being at all just honest and serious, I think that's the one that makes the most sense. I think that's the one that actually looks like the most fun, would be Gunther and John Cena at WrestleMania. That's all I got for today. Pretty good news day. So like I said, tomorrow we will be doing Tomorrow we will be doing the Casual Wrestling Podcast instead of Casual Wrestling Daily at 1 o'clock. So that show will just fill this time slot, and it will be a little bit longer. Expect that show to go about an hour. Got a couple new things we're going to be doing. That show is hit its full stride, and I'm enjoying that one. So nothing changing. Not gonna do 2 shows in one day. It's hard. It's a little redundant to talk about the same things twice in a row. But other than that, that is all the time we have today for the Casual Wrestling Daily Show. We will pick up where we left off on Monday. Make sure to tune in every weekday, Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Central here on YouTube Live. Make sure to check in on the Casual Wrestling Podcast that will now be every Friday live on YouTube at 1 p.m., filling the slot that this show used to fill on Fridays. Also, make sure, I know we had a little technical slip up this week on WWE in Review, but we'll be back at it next week, posting WWE in Review every Wednesday, where I go back and watch old premium live events and old pay-per-view matches and rank them on the most notorious casual wrestling match list ever. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, Casual Wrestling Community Show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be show that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver, or clothesline. We bringing that heat like for show, but you